Hey, what's up, folks? It's Brian Jester, co-founder here at Occupy Fantasy. We're back with some more NFL DFS picks and lineup advice for both FanDuel and DraftKings for tonight's Monday Night Football single-game showdown slate between the Ravens and the Browns. In this video, we'll look at the top plays for both FanDuel and DraftKings, talk about lineup strategies for both low-risk and high-risk contests, and of course, some general advice to help get you to the top of your contest leaderboards. Before we get started, go ahead and click that subscribe button below. Get access to all of our videos as soon as they are released here on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video. If you have any questions about the slate, you can always hop in our Discord channel, or you can just comment below, and we'll get back to you before the slate locks at 8:15 Eastern tonight. Before we get into the top plays, I did want to give a shout out to one of our viewers, Adam, as you see on screen here. This way. Adam, who has been watching our videos for a couple of weeks now and actually tied for first in the Rams and Patriots single game showdown slate about a week ago for $37,000, which is just amazing. So shout out to Adam. Enjoy it. That's a crazy amount of money. Let's hope we can win someone else a good amount of money for this slate. So let's go over the DraftKings. And as you know, we like to talk about the low-risk contest first in these videos. Remember, low-risk contests, any contest where roughly half the field doubles their money, 50-50s, head-to-heads, double-ups. And what we want to try to do in these contests is get as many high-floor players into our lineups as possible. And for showdown contests specifically, that means try to lock up all the touchdown scoring on both sides. For this particular game, it's really tough because we have split backfields. And on Cleveland, both guys are expensive. Nick Chubb, let's scroll up here. So Nick Chubb, 10,200. His backfield mate, Kareem Hunt, 7,200. So a little bit of a difference here. If you go over on FanDuel, Nick Chubb near the top of the price chart, 11,000 for Kareem Hunt. Chubb is 14,500. So obviously very difficult. And then for the Ravens, we have obviously J.K. Dobbins, who's technically leading the way now. Once he's been activated off COVID, he's back in that number one role. 11,500, but he's also splitting a decent amount of work with Gus Edwards at 8,500, and then Mark Ingram's kind of been relegated to that third role, still getting some touches at 8K. So it's really tough to lock up the touchdown scoring. So if we try to do this, right, if let's just say we go with the lead backs and we say Nick Chubb, who for the most part has led the team in red zone opportunities since he's returned from injury 4 weeks ago. If we try to get in Nick Chubb and we try to get in J.K. Dobbins, let's say those are our two guys, right? Obviously, Lamar Jackson, the highest floor, highest ceiling player on the slate, going to be one of the most popular captains and MVPs in all contest types. If we try to start with him, and we fit in Chubb, and we fit in the Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield, and now we fit in J.K. Dobbins, that's $1,950 per player. It's not great. Not something we can really do. Even if we swap Lamar for Dobbins, who's the cheapest of the group, let's put Dobbins at captain, let's put Lamar in the flex, that's still only $2,850 per lineup, or per player with two players left. Not a ton. So generally what we like to do in these situations is use a kicker or defense or value play, a captain that allows us to easily fit in these four guys. So if we put in, let's just say, let's put Lamar here in the flex. Oh, he's already in the flex. Let's put J.K. Dobbins in. And then we'll put, let's just say we like Justin Tucker tonight. Let's just say he's the guy. That leaves us 4,100. Much more reasonable. We can actually fit in another kicker or a defense. So this is probably the way to go. The other option, obviously, is to not use Dobbins, to not use Nick Chubb, and use Hunt instead and get cheaper. But again, we're giving up some touchdown equity here by not playing Chubb and by not playing Dobbins. So it's really difficult, really, really difficult. And if we go over on FanDuel, it's even more difficult because, look, if you try to fit those four guys, and Lamar here, you definitely want an MVP. Going to be the highest scorer more than likely. Definitely going to be the highest on MVP. Chubb, Dobbins, that's 2,000 left per player. Obviously, we can't fit that. So I think some alternatives here. Let's think about the weather for this game. Winds 15 to 20 miles per hour. Wind chill below freezing. The total's only 46 points. Cleveland's used to playing in this weather. They've had a few tornado, cold weather games this year. One option for me is to not use Mayfield and instead use both Browns running backs. That leaves us with 6K left for our final spot. Other option, of course, is not use Dobbins at all. Let's put Baker here, and 6,750 left per player. Not use Dobbins since he's also going to split with Gus Edwards, and he's also going to split with Mark Ingram, and we're not sure who's going to get the touchdowns of that group, if any. So there's another way. So again, not the best low risk night because we can't really lock up all the scoring confidently, no matter which direction we go. But there are some ways, and again, always target inexperienced players, Look in the lobby for head-to-heads without badges. Look for small field contests where you can look through the entry list, because I guarantee you, especially closer to lock, you'll find some really terrible lineups. And as long as you use one of these approaches, you'll have a better lineup than the opponents that you're playing. Now, if you're entering large field contests, it's a really tough night, and that's where you mostly want to avoid for this particular slate. All right, let's go back over to DraftKings really quickly, and let's think about this slate from a high-risk perspective. If you're with us on the last Baltimore slate, that was against the Cowboys on Tuesday. In our live stream on Twitch, we talked about how you could probably use Lamar Jackson in 100% of your lineups at captain and MVP, because there were so many cheap options that you could stack with him and make unique lineups, which is ultimately the goal of Showdown contests. Tonight, that's not the case, because we get two of their guys back off the COVID list. Willie Snead, their slot receiver, he's back off the COVID list. He's 5,800, not cheap, obviously. And then Mark Andrews, his basically number one target, is back at 8,800. So we can't reasonably stack Lamar Jackson with $200 players like we were able to do against the Cowboys. So for me on DraftKings, the move is probably, especially if you're only making a couple lineups for high risk, big GPPs, single entry, your 100-player leagues, your satellites, probably not use Lamar Jackson. Instead, in a low total game with the weather a little bit of a factor, I think in our model likes Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, and then probably even some of the Browns pass catchers because of the targeted volume there, with Jarvis Landry in particular. Rashard Higgins, let's not forget about him. So Kadero Hodge, the number 3 receiver, is out. Obviously, Odell Beckham Jr. is out. As a result, Higgins played nearly 100% of the snaps last week, got 9 targets, had a big game against the Titans. As you see here, he had 6 for 95. It's going to be the same way tonight, going to play nearly every snap. So Higgins at a cheaper price tag, going to be very, very low owned at captain. He's an option. I think who's going to go over owned is Marquise Brown. He's going to be probably more popular than he should be, when the last couple of games he's been playing as pretty much the only healthy receiver for the Ravens. Scored touchdowns in back-to-back games. Obviously had that long touchdown against Pittsburgh with Trace McSorley under center late in the game. Scored the 1 touchdown last week. 8 targets, but most of his targets, unlike earlier in the year, a lot of his targets recently have been closer to the line of scrimmage. And at 7,400, likely going to be too popular. So if you're making just one lineup, I probably wouldn't use Marquise Brown. Playing a bunch of lineups, probably want to have less than what the field is going to have. We'll have our projected ownership up in the Occupy model later this afternoon. If you're watching this video early in the day, it'll be up, so continue to check that. And let's just say Marquise is 40%. If you make 5 lineups, you want to have him in 0 or 1 lineup, less than what the field's going to have. We think he's going to be over-owned, overly popular tonight, especially with Willie Snead and Mark Andrews coming back. Now, these are DraftKings only strategies, because on FanDuel, it's really tough to get away from Lamar Jackson because of his running ability and because of the half-point PPR scoring and lack of a salary multiplier. You need the highest scoring player. So if you do this, Lamar is probably still the best option for most contest types. If you're playing really large contests, you can probably use the Browns running backs. The big question is, how do you get unique with Lamar Jackson? And I think the answer tonight is probably in the Browns tight end situation. This is the final thing we'll talk about before we get out of here. Austin Hooper, not expected to play tonight for the Browns. As you see here, he's got the Q tag, but national reports are saying he's unlikely to play, which means David Njoku will get some snaps for him at 7K. He'll play 50, 60% of the snaps. And then Harrison Bryant, the rookie, will actually play more, and he's less, 6K. And he'll probably go lower owned than Njoku, solely because of the price and the name value. That's how sharp the fields are on FanDuel. So Harrison Bryant, David Njoku, both super cheap guys that you can help fit into Lamar lineups to save some salary. And then Miles Boykin obviously going to play some more snaps with Des Bryant on the COVID list. And I think that's it. Those are the big news. Yeah, that's the biggest news. And those are the biggest ways to help you save some salary. Of course, you can always go with the cheaper Ravens running backs in lieu of J.K. Dobbins. Just something to keep in mind. All right, that'll do it for this video. I know we said a lot. We talked about a lot. So be sure to go check out our daily plug, occupyfantasy.com. That'll be up this afternoon with full thoughts on every single player on the slate, and then very specific strategies on how to approach low-risk and high-risk contests for both FanDuel and DraftKings. Go check it out, occupyfantasy.com. Links also in the description below. Check out our Occupy model, which ranks every player on the slate, both FanDuel and DraftKings, with projected ownership. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Get access to our videos when they're released on YouTube. That way you never miss a video. You never miss an advice video from us. Give us that thumbs up. We'd appreciate it. And again, we're always happy to answer your questions. So any questions you have, just hop in the comments below, and we'll get back to you before the game starts Monday night. So Brian Jester for Occupy Fantasy. Appreciate you listening. Hope one of you can match Adam's $37,000 tonight. But if not, hope you still win some money. So good luck. We'll talk to you soon.